Most people think personal growth is about discipline, motivation, or confidence. They think if they just push harder, wake up earlier, or stay more consistent, everything will fall into place. But the real reason people stay stuck has nothing to do with habits. It's all emotional intelligence. And in this video, I want to talk about what emotional intelligence actually is, why it's essential for real personal growth, and why so many people struggle with confidence, self-worth, and direction when this piece is missing. And before we go deeper, I want to briefly introduce myself so you understand where this perspective comes from. Hi, I am Mariah. I am based in London. I am a mother of two and I'm currently completing my master's in global digital marketing. So, my work sits at the intersection of real life and inner life, where responsibility, ambition, emotional regulation, and leadership meet. And I don't talk about growth as a pure theory. I talk about it as something that has to function in actually real life under pressure, responsibility, and emotional demand. And that's exactly why emotional intelligence matters more than most people realize. A lot of people are trying to grow without understanding themselves. They push harder when they feel stuck. They criticize themselves when they fall short. And also, they add pressure instead of awareness. And then they wonder why they feel burnout, lose motivation, or feel disconnected from themselves. Personal growth doesn't start with doing more, it starts with noticing what's actually happening inside you. And most people struggle not because they are lazy, undisciplined, or incapable. I believe it's because they don't know how to sit with discomfort without escaping it. They start distracting themselves, they overthink their decisions or their problems, they scroll for hours, they look for outside for external validation, and also they avoid the emotion instead of starting to understand it. And that's not a motivation problem. It's an emotional intelligence. It's an emotional regulation problem. And emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize what you are feeling, understand why you are feeling it, and choose how to respond instead of reacting automatically. And this part is important. Emotional intelligence doesn't mean you are suppressing your emotions, and it doesn't mean being calm all the time and the Zen type era. It doesn't mean being super passive or nice all the time. It means you are aware enough to pause. And when you don't have this skill, your emotions control your behavior. You react instead of respond. You say things you will start regretting later on. You over identify with how you feel in the moment. And you let temporary emotions dictate your long term decisions. And that's when people start self sabotage. They quit when things get uncomfortable. They pull away instead of communicating. And also, they doubt themselves instead of adjusting. When you do have emotional intelligence, something shifts. You don't feel less emotion, you feel more grounded inside it. You become calmer under pressure, you stop taking things personally, and you learn to separate facts from feelings. And I believe this is emotional maturity. And emotional maturity is the foundation of confidence. And I always say this confidence isn't loud and it's not performative and it's not about proving anything to anyone because confidence is self trust, is knowing that even when you make mistakes, you won't abandon yourself emotionally. People with emotional intelligence don't spiral after mistakes. They pause, they reflect, and they take responsibility without self blame. They adjust their behavior instead of collapsing into shame. And every time you respond to yourself with calm instead of criticism, you teach your nervous system something really important. You teach that you are safe with yourself. And that sense of safety is the foundation of self-worth. And this is where most people get it wrong. Try to build confidence by forcing positivity, by hyping themselves up, by repeating affirmations they find on internet, but they don't emotionally believe them. But confidence doesn't come from convincing yourself you're capable. It comes from becoming emotionally reliable and from knowing that when things get hard, you won't panic and you won't explode and you won't turn everything against yourself. And that is built through emotional intelligence. It's built when your actions and emotions response start to align. When you stop saying one thing and doing another, when you stop ignoring your own boundaries, and when you stop reacting impulsively and start responding intentionally. How do you actually start building emotional intelligence in everyday life? You start small. You pause before reacting, even if it's just for a few seconds. You name what you are feeling instead of suppressing. And you ask yourself what this emotion is trying to tell me instead of judging it. And you choose responses that align with your values, not with your impulses. And this isn't about being perfect, it's about becoming emotionally consistent. And it's about proving to yourself over time that you can be trusted. And that's what real personal growth looks like. Not dramatic transformation, not constant motivation, but steady emotional regulation. And if you are someone balancing ambitions with responsibility, building a career, raising children, leading others, or simply trying to lead yourself, emotional intelligence isn't optional. And even if you are a student, for me, this work exists at the intersection of real life and inner life because growth has to be practical and it has to be emotionally sustainable. It has to work when life is busy, demanding, and the most important, imperfect, because we live in an imperfect world. And that's what this channel is all about. It's, if this resonates with you, subscribe. This is a space for grounded conversations when emotional maturity, self-worth, and personal growth that actually works in real life.